news for the organization, Deni Gaffer getting a contract extension. What's your reaction to that, and why is he the guy that you guys want to commit the future to?
Well, it's positive news. It gives him security, gives us an idea of who we have in the fold. It takes a lot of pressure off him, I think. Throughout the season, just kind of thinking about it, dwelling on it. You can put that to bed and play. So I think he can play now with a clear head. He's not concerned about maybe the immediate future, but we look at him as a foundational piece, a guy we can move forward with. We have a lot of confidence in his ability. We expect a lot, and I think his potential will have to kind of dive in there and see what he's got. But I think it's untapped.
What makes you think that he can tap into that potential? Are there certain intangibles or traits that you see where it's like this guy's going to keep getting better?
I've seen it within the last month and a half, 2 months, but also from the film I watched prior to getting the job. He's a better player. He's 23, so he's still got to grow into his own and figure out his own game. But he's shown incremental steps thus far, which are positive. So it's exciting to see his development, and I think it's an opportunity for him to grow.
And what is the plan at this point for Rui? I mean, you guys are obviously leaving town. Will there be coaches staying back to work with him, or is there anything like that in the works?
Yeah, he'll have individual workout times. He'll remain here and get that in, get his conditioning in. So it's still, there's no timetable. So we'll see how he progresses, and then slowly implement him as best we can.
Wes, obviously, we asked you about Brad's vaccination status earlier. You said kind of used to dealing with all that stuff. And going to Canada, how do you guys approach? I know he's pretty much just got to stick to hotel, venue, or bus. Does that change anything with how you would otherwise run a road trip?
No, it just affects him directly, but we've been through this and down the road with protocols, not just here, but every team has. So we'll follow the guidelines. Obviously each jurisdiction has their own rules, so we'll have to abide by those. But as far as it applies to us as a group, it's a business trip, and we'll treat it as such. Everybody went. No issues. No.
When we were asking you about Deni, she's asking you not, but just in terms of him and his readiness, in terms of the things that you're talking about, all the young players with communication, where does he kind of stand on those kind of intangible factors, or more less on court stuff?
Well, it fluctuates, and I think that's the mark once again of a young player. Some days he's really dialed in, and he's got it. You feel like he's on the same page. Other days he looks a little lost. I just think that's just the natural maturation a young player has to go through. For him, it's stay in the moment. I think sometimes he gets so obsessed with what he perceives as a past failure that it affects his next shot, affects the next play. So no, you can't bypass that. You got to learn from those mistakes, but you can't dwell on it. And I think it's important for him to understand you have to have that next shot mentality. If there's a problem, understand what the problem is, fix it, and move on.
Just wondering, ahead of the opener, what you guys worked on today.
A lot of it was a mental day. Didn't do a lot of up and down, not a lot of competitive stuff. Ironing out our script, the details of the script, touching on some things we may see tomorrow offensively. We had another good session, is just a quiet drill where coaches can't say a word, and players, you have to talk us through all these situations. What are we doing? What's the responsibility? So just kind of fine tuning some of the things we've harped on, throughout preseason.
Do you feel like there's been improvement in the communication aspect?
Oh, no doubt. It's not perfect, but every practice seems to get a little tighter. Every game's been better. Just the challenge is doing it for longer stretches.
All right, Coach, let's move over to Zoom. Neil.
Hey, Coach, obviously last, few preseason games, you've had Brad in there as primary ball handler. Deni was also in there. You said you wanted to put him in, different opportunities, different roles. How have you seen him, adjust in those roles, as a secondary ball handler?
I don't see it more as an adjustment. I think, he's got the capability to be a playmaker. He can go get his own whenever he wants. That's obvious. But to move him around, just so he understands that, all 5 spots on the floor. And I think that gives us the flexibility to move guys around within the offense. So we're not running a separate play. We're just, changing up who's involved and who starts the offense versus who's the recipient. It just gives the guys a better understanding of all 5 guys and their responsibilities in that action.
And I don't think we've asked you a lot about your coaching staff that you put together around you. Who is your, go-to offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator? Is, Coach Blair your main guy that's working with the big guys, or how do all their different roles spread out?
Well, the staff and the way it was constructed, I wanted to put people around me who could obviously augment my deficiencies. I didn't want to thrust all the defensive stuff on one person, but that'll be spearheaded for the most part by Pat Delaney and Mike Miller. So just kind of pairing those 2 guys up, and their input helps me just kind of where we are, where we need to be, what's missing. On the flip side, pairing Joseph Blair and Zach Guthrie on the offensive end. So I don't want to peg them necessarily as offensive, defensive coordinators, but those 2 areas are kind of their realm, and they'll help me, in those areas.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Christos.
Hello, Coach. Hope you're doing well. How you vision Deni Avdija's role this season, and what impressed you most so far in this preparation?
Well, he's going to have a bigger role. I want to see his minutes, see an uptick. I want him to be able to play late game situations, if necessary, but he's not there yet. So he's going to have to earn those minutes, and nothing is given. And I think he's well on his way to doing that. But I want to see him get out of his box a little bit. He came in as a shot maker, playmaker, didn't get an opportunity to do so much last season. So get him the ball, see where he can help us. Obviously as the offense breaks down and ball's moving, I think that the fact that we put so much shooting on the floor generates those long closeouts. So now it gives him an opportunity to put the ball on the floor once again, attack the paint, draw the defense, and then make the right plays. I've seen him do it in practices and drills. I think right now he gets a little frustrated with, the shots aren't falling, but that's okay. He's taking the right types of shots. He's trying to make the right reads, and defensively he's getting better. So we have a lot of confidence in Deni, and I want him to have as much confidence in himself as we do in him.
And what kind of flexibility you have as a team with Deni on the floor, Montrezl, and Burton?
Well, it gives us a lot of flexibility. Aside from those guys, honestly, we could play 11 deep. And that's tough to do in a 48-minute window, but if necessary, we can do that. And I think we've shown throughout the preseason those little stretches where, whether it's the second group, the first group, or a combination of the 2, our guys are starting to figure each other out. It's obviously it's go time. So we're going to lean on our heavy minute guys, but we've got a lot of depth and flexibility if necessary.
Okay, Maimon.
Did you say Maimon?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Coach. Neil Maimon, Sport 5 Israel. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Last season, we saw a lot of time that Deni was quite open and he didn't get a lot of the ball. Did you going to use him differently? And if I can ask, which position do you think that Deni is the most effective?
Yes, definitely plan on using a little bit more. I think with our spacing, you got Trez, you got Gaff rolling, spreads teams out. That'll open up a lot of open shots for him as well as others. But he can play off the bounce, play a secondary ball handler. He's a dynamic pick and roll player. I didn't think he got the opportunity to do that a whole lot last season. So he'll get that chance. I think it's important for him to grow, expand his game a little bit. And he's just got to play with a little bit more confidence, bottom line.
What do you say? What do you think about his character? Because he just came back from a long injury. Do you think that he has the right thing to, take Washington Wizards forward?
Oh, absolutely. He's a tough-minded kid. Once again, he puts probably more pressure on himself than he should, because I think he really wants to be good. And he gets down on himself at times, but, I think that's his competitive spirit. So I applaud his efforts. He's worked through a lot over the summer, had a little setback in September. So he had to put a little extra time in, coming into training camp a little behind. So he's playing catch up at this point. But you know what? I can't say anything negative about his effort, his energy, and even after practice, he's asking questions. He's pulling guys aside. He wants to do extra script. So it's important to him. It matters to him. And I can't say enough about his character, his demeanor, and his approach.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you.
All right, all set, Coach. Thank you for your time. We appreciate
So obviously, they said they were easing you in at the start of training camp and you missed the first game. Kind of how much do you feel like you're caught up to this point as you get ready to start the season?
I think I did a pretty good job. I think I needed that one game to really figure out how we play and to rest up and really get my body going. And I think I also trust the guys around me, like the training staff, all the guys that really work with me every day. They have the best suggestions for me. They know what's the best for me. So I'm trusting on them on every word they say. And as you see, I think we've been through a great training camp. I think I'm pretty much ready. And let's start that season good.
And it looks like you'll be in the second unit and maybe a playmaker in that group. What stands out to you just about the 5 players that might be shaped up as the bench for this team?
I mean, it's really dynamic. I mean, sport in general is really dynamic. Our team, we have so many good players in different positions, and you never know how we end up playing with. But of course, for now, the second unit, as we played in preseason, feel good. We're moving the ball great. We bring that energy from the bench, and the big point is always to try and play better than the first unit. It's kind of the thing. And that's what keeps us going as a team. I mean, we're all one team, and everybody will do everything he needs to get far. So excited.
Deni, what's the lesson you took from the 4th preseason game?
4 preseason game, the 3,
From the next one.
the next one,
Yeah.
the last one. It wasn't easy for me. I don't like to lose games, especially when you're up that much. I think don't get me wrong, I think it was good for us because we learned from that game a lot. We learned that we were up and we need to know how to close the games, and we had a good lead, and we need to be more focused. It's on me too. It's on me too because I made a couple of decisions in the end, and that maybe I could have been more aggressive and go to the free throw line, but especially in defense, our defense at the end, they were just hitting threes. And the point is always to breathe, calm down. We good. I mean, I gathered everybody up and just said, hey, listen, guys, let's close that game. Let's take our good shots. Let's play defense like we do always. And eventually, it didn't really work, but we learned from it. So that's the biggest point. It was good for us.
And something we hear a lot about you from Wes and different players and stuff is that you're so competitive, you take things really hard when you feel like you're not doing them perfectly. For you, what does it take to kind of snap you out of that, to just like to move on? Is that something that you've had to work on?
Of course. I'm always I'm always playing the hardest I can, and yeah, a lot of times want to be perfect from the beginning, and slowly the people next to me that I love, they always tell me it doesn't come right away. I mean, I need to understand that I'm still getting in rhythm. I'm still like coming back from injury. I mean, the first practice or the first game that I came back, I was expecting to be like better than what I remember myself before I got injured, but it doesn't happen in a second. I mean, eventually it will, but I was rushing to be like the fastest, like be stronger than what I was, like score more or do more things, and it shouldn't be like that. I should grind slowly and be patient with my staff and be better every day. And I'm trying to do that now and work on it. And yeah, now I'm positive so
All the time.
yeah, trying to.
I also wanted to ask you about Brad. We kind of heard a lot of the speech that he gave before the preseason, before the preseason started and everything like that. This year, since things are a little bit different for him, from what I understand, like he might not be able to be around you guys all the time just because he's vaccinated and things like that. How is that working? How have you noticed his approach to leadership, or as it pertains to things that he's telling you?
I think Brad shouldn't straight. Like he's gonna tell the truth regardless. Like he's even if he's not gonna be with us because of the vaccination, we support him. I mean, still the main player. He knows how the team should run, and we trust him. Like I mean, in the end of the day, he's a leader. He's our leader, and I feel like he does a great job like talking to us and tell us the truth. If we don't look good, he's gonna say it. If we look good, he's gonna come up and say it too. So I mean, it's a big key. Brad is a big key for us this season, and we need him with vaccination or without vaccination. So that's about it.
I wanted to ask you about Daniel Gaffer getting a contract extension, especially as a young player who could maybe see that as something strive for.
So the question was, I'm sorry.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Daniel Gaffer's contract extension, especially as a young player who could see that maybe as something to strive for as a step for you?
I'm super happy for him because I know how hard he's working. I see him all the time. We're shooting in probably in around the same time in the morning too. He getting treatment after me, and I always see him in the gym working, in the weight room working, or in the court working. So to see Daniel working like that, I mean, I'm super happy for him. He deserved that. He works hard. He helps us on the court a lot, and he's a good guy. So I mean, all the props to him, and just keep going. I mean, congratulations.
All right, Deni, we have a ton of international media here. So at this
yay.
time,
Yes.
at this time, I'm going to transition to Yaron, who's going to help moderate. And if we have time, we'll take questions in English. But
I'm not gonna miss the plane though, right?
No. A couple questions,
Okay.
and Yaron, you'll get it going.
Right.
So with
I'm not gonna
Okay.
miss the plane. All right.
הבנתי את הרמז, דני, סבבה.
לא, הכל
לא,
טוב.
הכל בסדר.
יש לך זמן, הכל בסדר, אני
הכל
מסבלן.
טוב. אז נתחיל עם החברים מערוץ הספורט. ניר מימון, מטעם מגרש פתוח, שם דניאל בשרון פרי, אז הוא ישאל את השאלות. בבקשה, ניר.
אהלן, דני, מה שלומך?
מה קורה?
אחלה. תחילת העונה השנייה שלך בליגה, ספר לנו קצת אבל מה עבר עליך באופן אישי בקיץ.
אתה יודע, הקיץ שלי היה לרוב שיקום די ארוך. היה לי מעט זמן בבית באמת, אבל נמצאתי ברוב, ב-DC רוב הזמן, ופשוט עבדתי. היו חבר'ה מהקבוצה שבאמת עזרו לי לעבוד, לחזק את הקרסול, לחזור לכושר לאט לאט, אז לא היה הקיץ הכי כיפי בעולם, אבל אתה יודע, אתה צריך להקריב המון, ורציתי לחזור מאוד מאוד מוכן, יותר מהשנה שעברה, וזה מה שהייתי צריך להקריב, את הזמן חופש שלי, את הזמן בבית, בשביל להתכונן לעונה הבאה.
וויזרד מימשו לאחרונה את האופציה בחוזה שלך, לעונה שלישית. שאלה אם גם במקום דינמי כמו NBA, זה נותן שקט תעשייתי להתרכז בכדורסל.
אני אף פעם לא שקט. כל שלבי הקריירה שלי, גם שהייתי שחקן במכבי תל אביב, אף פעם לא הייתי שקט. תמיד הייתי רעב לעוד. זאת אומרת, גם עם האופציה של החוזה שלך, אתה יודע, באיזשהו שלב אתה גם רוצה להתקדם בתוך שחקן, רוצה להתקדם בתוך המערכת. אז מבחינתי אני אף פעם לא שקט, אני תמיד רוצה עוד, אני תמיד רוצה להיות יותר טוב, אני תמיד רוצה לשפר את עצמי בתור שחקן, ותכלס אני אף פעם לא נח לרגע. זאת אומרת, גם אם עכשיו יהיה לי חוזה וכזה וכזה, והערכת חוזה, ואני מקווה בעתיד בעזרת השם, אבל אתה תראה אותי יום אחרי זה מגיע לאולם ועובד על אותם דברים, וקם באותה שעה, ושום דבר לא ישתנה. אז מבחינתי אני תמיד מוכן לעבוד, ואני בא תמיד רעב כל שנה.
ברדלי ביל אמר שאתה צריך להיות יותר אגרסיבי. כמה זה משפיע לשמוע את זה מסופרסטאר כזה, ומה יש לך לענות לו?
קודם כל זה משפיע, אבל זה גם לא משפיע. באיזשהו שלב אתה יודע, אתה מכיר את הגוף שלך ואת עצמך הכי טוב. ולקבל עצה במיוחד משחקן כזה זה תמיד טוב, תמיד משהו שאתה רוצה להסתכל עליו ולשפר. מה יש לי לענות לו? תקשיב, אני חושב שאני סך הכל בחור אגרסיבי, אבל אני צריך גם את הזמן שלי לחזור גם לחדות הזאת שהייתי וגם לאגרסיביות הזאת שהייתי. בסופו של דבר אני לא רוצה להשתמש בזה כתירוץ, אבל אני חייב להגיד שאתה יודע, אני עדיין בתהליכי חזרה גם עם הגוף שלי. 6 חודשים זה לא, זה הרבה זמן להיות בחוץ. אז אני לוקח את הזמן, אבל תהיה בטוח שהאגרסיביות נשארה.
דני, כולנו צופים בך, כולנו נצפה, תודה רבה ובהצלחה.
תודה רבה. תודה.
תודה, ניר. ג'ושוע, השאלה בעברית, בבקשה.
תודה רבה. היי דני, מה שלומך?
מה קורה ג'וש?
בסדר. אז שאלה פשוטה, מה למדת על עצמך בשנה האחרונה?
למדתי על עצמי הרבה. דבר ראשון שאני מאוד חזק מנטלי. לא פשוט, אתה יודע, שנה ראשונה, במיוחד שאתה בא בשנת קורונה, שהיא בין השנות לדעתי אולי הכי קשות שהיו. גם מבחינה שהעיר לא הייתה חיה וגם לא היה קהל, ובאמת היה הרבה דברים והרבה גורמים שבאמת לא היו פשוטים להקל תוך כדי שהעונה ותוך כדי שאתה משחק כל יום, לעבור כל יום באמת ולהיות כמה שיותר עקבי, וזה לא פשוט, יש הרבה דברים מסביב שאנשים לא רואים. זהו, אתה יודע, המוסר העבודה שלי נשאר אותו דבר, שמחת חיים שלי נשאר אותו דבר, ומפה רק להתקדם ולפרוח.
תודה רבה.
אהלן דני, מה העניינים?
מה קורה פיני?
אחלה. ראינו אותך במשחקים האחרונים, במשחקי האימון, לאט לאט באמת נכנס לקצב, וראינו שכדורים יותר עוברים דרכך במשחק של הקבוצה, ביחידה השנייה, בחבר'ה שעולים מהספסל. תספר לנו על זה קצת, מה ההנחיות, מה מצופה ממך וכן הלאה.
זה לא כל כך מסובך, אתה יודע, בסופו של דבר זה כדורסל, אני מבין שיש יותר שטף בהתקפה והכדור יותר זורם, וזה כן משהו שאנחנו באמת נוגעים בו. סך הכל אבל זה כיף, אני חושב שזה צורת הכדורסל הטובה ביותר, זה להניע ככה את הכדור ושכולם נוגעים בו, וזה באמת משהו שאנחנו שמים עליו הרבה דגש. חוץ מזה אין הרבה יותר מדי הוראות. אני חושב שבסופו של דבר החמישייה השנייה אנחנו באים עם אנרגיות, אנחנו מזיזים את הכדור, אנחנו, אתה יודע, נותנים גם לפעמים לזה שיש לו תופס יותר יום שהתקפת ערוץ קצת יותר דרכו, וזה באמת דינמי. אני מאמין שזה כל הזמן ישתנה, אבל אתה יודע, האנרגיה והתנועה של הכדור בהתקפה זה באמת משהו שאנחנו מנסים שישאר. ומשם זהו.
ואתה פיזית ומנטלית מרגיש 100% אחרי 3 המשחקים, אתה מרגיש יותר טוב לפחות אחרי 3 המשחקים?
אני אהיה כן ואני אגיד שאני מרגיש יותר טוב. אני כמובן מצפה מעצמי, ואני חושב שזה לא 100% שלי, אני חושב שאתה גם מסכים איתי בזה. בסופו של דבר עבדתי נורא קשה ואוספתי המון דברים, אבל באמת אני לא ממהר לשום מקום. יש לנו 82 משחקים העונה, שבהם יהיו הזדמנויות כאלה ואחרות, ואני באמת נשאר אופטימי, עובד קשה, עושה מה שאני צריך לעשות, ואני מאמין שעם העונה אני ארגיש יותר בנוח גם גופנית וגם מנטלית, ויהיה בסדר.
100%, שיהיה הרבה בהצלחה.
תודה רבה.
Howard, can you ask in Hebrew?
Is it for Howard, you said?
Yeah.
Is it okay to ask in English? Either one is okay. Is it okay?
No, prefer Hebrew now or later in English. We don't have a lot of time.
Your call.
Okay, דני, החבר שלך, עומרי, הוא היה דוגמה טוב עם הקהילה היהודית בארצות הברית, עם המשפחות, עם הקהילה. אז ספר לנו אם אתה מתחייס כבר עם הקהילה היהודית, איך היו החגים פה, ואם אתה מדבר על ישראל עם החברה, עם הטימייטס של הוויזרדס.
קודם כל אני מנסה להטמיע בחברים המון, איך אומרים את זה? אווירה ישראלית, גם באוכל, גם בחגים, באמת בכל דבר שאני יכול. הקהילה היהודית עוד לא כל כך יצא לי לפגוש, אני באמת מתרגש ואני באמת מצפה לפגוש אותה ולעשות המון דברים ביחד, ובאמת לשים אותנו על המפה כפי שאומרים. זהו, חוץ מזה בינתיים אני מרוכז בכדורסל הרבה, בלחזור מהפציעה, אז לא היה לי כל כך הרבה זמן, אבל אני מאמין שבעתיד יהיה לנו אחלה של תקופות.
יואב בורוביץ'.
שומעים אותי?
כן, קדימה.
כן, ברור.
דני, המון בהצלחה השנה. אני רוצה לשאול אותך בבקשה, מה אתה רוצה לשנות בשנה השנייה, לעומת השנה הראשונה, מבחינת סגנון משחק שלך, מבחינת דברים אולי שאתה רוצה להשיג יותר, מה מבחינתך צריך להיות השוני הגדול?
קודם כל לבוא להיות יותר אגרסיבי, כמו שברדלי אמר. זה דבר אחד. דבר שני, אתה יודע, לאט לאט יותר ניסיון, גם בהגנה, גם בהתקפה, לדעת איך ה-NBA עובד, ובאמת הניסיון הזה בתוך המשחק שיעזור לך. וגם הביטחון, אתה יודע, אתה כבר בשנה שנייה, אתה כבר קצת היית באולמות, שיחקת שנה ב-NBA, אז אתה יודע, הכל בסופו של דבר בא עם הזמן. חוץ מזה אני מאמין שאני רוצה להשתפר באמת כל יום, אני לא מסתכל כאילו על שנה שעברה ומשווה. כל שנה תהיה משהו אחר וסיטואציה אחרת, ואני אעבוד עם מה שיש ואני אעשה הכי טוב בכל מצב שיהיה, אז מבחינתי אני חי כל יום בעיתו.
דני, שנה שעברה אתה פתחת הרבה מאוד משחקים בחמישייה, זה עכשיו בפרי סיזן, זה נראה גם הסגל שלכם אחר, ואתה בינתיים לא סטארטר, האם לחזור להיות שחקן חמישייה, זו מטרה מבחינתך?
אני שם את המטרה הראשונה כרגע שהקבוצה תצליח. אני רוצה להגיע להיות הישראלי הראשון בפלייאוף, אני רוצה שהקבוצה תיראה טוב על המגרש, ואני רוצה להגיע הכי רחוק שיש. ומבחינתי אם זה לבוא מהספסל ולא מהחמישייה, זה בסדר גמור. כל עוד הקבוצה משחקת טוב, וכל עוד אנחנו מגיעים רחוק וכולם באמת עושים את כל מה שהם צריכים. אני אביא את עצמי, את היכולות שלי, את כל מה שאני יודע, ואם ההחלטה של המאמן היא שאני אהיה בחמישייה, אז אני אהיה בחמישייה, ואם לא, אז אני אבוא מהספסל. אבל המיינדסט שלי נשאר אותו דבר.
דני, שאלה אחרונה, מבחינת תחושה שלך, עד כמה רחוק אתה חושב שהקבוצה שלכם תגיע העונה?
אני לא יכול להגיד ואני גם לא רוצה לדבר. אני יודע שהמון אנשים, גם ב-NBA, לא מאמינים שנגיע הכי רחוק שיש, או רחוק, אבל אתה אף פעם לא יודע. ואנחנו באים כאנדרדוג, ואנחנו נילחם, ואנחנו נעשה כל מה שאנחנו יכולים ולשחק את המשחק שלנו, בשביל להגיע הכי רחוק שיש, ובאמת להפתיע המון אנשים שכרגע לא מאמינים בנו. אז
תודה רבה ובהצלחה.
תודה רבה.
יופי, תודה חברים. Hoop District, is that in Hebrew a question? Or we were going to go back to... No, okay. So, getting it back to you, Sandro, to wrap up with some English questions.
Yeah, so we'll go to Neil for the last question and go from there.
Hey, Deni, I'm curious how you feel like you guys have adjusted in terms of your communication. You know, Coach said you guys went through a quiet drill today. How do you think the team has progressed from when you guys first got together around Labor Day to now heading into the season?
I think us coming before a little bit earlier than what we needed to really helped us, really to understand each other and know how to communicate. We're doing a lot of stuff off the court too together. So I feel like being friends and building this chemistry off the court really helps us on the court too, and be comfortable more in talking to each other and understanding each other. And it was a big part of it and a big key. So for now, I think we're communicating good. I think there's a lot to improve, but I think it's going to come with time and throughout the season. But for now, I think we have a great starting point. So.
And we know, you know, you're obviously a very hardworking guy, always looking to improve yourself. Coach told us that, you know, he would see you after practices, you know, asking questions, trying to, you know, figure little things out. Can you share with us a little bit of, you know, specific areas that you're hoping to improve yourself?
Of course. As one question that I mentioned before is that I'm taking a lot of things hard sometimes. And one of the points is there were some practices that I got confused and I didn't run the play good, or I did some stuff that I shouldn't do on defense or offense. And after practice, I stay and I figure out why I did this stuff. And I'm not just like, whatever, I'm going to figure it out next practice. I'm trying to learn at the same time. Like the same time you're playing, so you don't really have time to stop and ask a lot of questions. But I'm always staying after practice and asking the coaches to help me out in how I figure that out and how I need to play if I'm there or there. And I'm really trying to master all the positions that I'm probably going to play in the game. That I know that if I'm in the 1 or I'm guarding the 2 or I'm guarding the 4, how I'm playing the best at that position. And another story that I'm going to tell you is yesterday after the practice, me and Anthony Gill, we stayed and we brought 3 more coaches to run all our plays. So we really taking this seriously. We really want to be perfect, and we want to not be worrying about some stuff like, and that's about it.
Thanks, Deni. Safe travel.